Hey guys, thanks for watching us this whole journey. We're done with phase one. So if I didn't mention it before, let me remind you, phase one was just moving things into place, like transferring stuff over, getting up to basic running capacity. Phase two was getting little things in place. You know, you work for a little bit after a week or two. Hey, we really need an outlet here, or I want my desk here, or maybe we should move the lunchroom. That's what we've been doing. And then phase three, I'll show you at the end of this video how that's gonna look. We're just getting started. But for now, let me give you a quick tour, answer some of the questions that I've seen in the comments section, and just kind of show you how we're doing it. So, hey, behind me, we got the VF4. The VF4 produces all our vacuum chucks, pretty much everything that we make on our vacuum, on our Smart Vac 2 line of work holding products. So I originally bought this machine to replace our Haas TM3P, which was a little workhorse, really good for the time of the business of just growing it. I originally bought the VF4 because I had my mini mill back in the day and I was losing a lot of sales because people wanted larger vacuum chucks. The reason that our smallest vacuum chuck is 9.5 by 14 is because the travels of the mini mill is, 16 by 12 or 16 by 14, you can look it up, but that was like the biggest thing that we could machine. So we bought the TM3P to make bigger chucks. Trying to become more lean and get more efficient, we realized that some of the problems, or a lot of the holdups in production, is always surrounded around setup. And so to reduce setups, we had the VF4 SS and it just happened to come with a 30 tool side mount tool changer. So what we've done is we've standardized all the products. We've made some little tweaks to the designs so that we can only use 30 tools to make all of our products. And here it is. This is the VF4 tool list. We have 1 through 30. 31 is an empty one. Like right now it's at tool 31. That's how we park it. And yeah, we never have to pull tools, change, inserts, collets, none of that. It's done, it's semi-permanent, so that has radically boosted productivity. We've done the same thing. So the VF2C is another machine we bought to primarily produce our pallets. We produce so many pallets a year for both our Pro and Mini pallet systems that we wanted to just be able to come in here, bolt it down. It also has a probe, so it'll probe the pallet because there's irregularities sometimes with extrusions. Sometimes they're dished or bowed or sometimes twisted if they've been mishandled. We want to find the exact center of that pallet and pull up the program and just hit start. And again, we haven't filled all 30 tools, but we've gotten up to about 10, and then the row device, we have a couple here. And then we're slowly transitioning production of some of the PPS and MPS bases to this machine. So we will update that. And yeah, it's been great for productivity. We're just loving it. I've mentioned this before, we standardize our carts. We have 2 types of carts. We have just these from Uline. I'll put a description of the part number in the description in the video, and we also have some heavy duty carts that we put heavier stuff on, and also pallets of stuff going out to outside vendors. Our Doosan 220 LSY, such a workhorse of a machine. Load material, press start, and pretty much it just runs and runs and runs. We don't have a bar feeder. I'm always hesitant to embrace technology that overproduces. And so it's okay that we feed it a bar every hour manually. That's fine with us. For example, this is a cool thing. Maybe I'll post this on our Instagram account, also a link in the description. Being in this facility, because it is larger, it's more than double the space of our previous shop, there's there's a lot of inefficiencies in wasted motion. Moving material, carts, that's why we're like huge on carts. We want to move that just one time. We've all seen these tubes that people store their material in. We wanted to put it in the tubing, and now this is a mobile cart built out of what's called key clamps, and we just turned some quick, easy, I think they're made out of nylon or Delrin, just rollers. And we will roll this back and forth, like from the saw it up, put it in, roll it to the lathe that we're gonna be running, and just feed. And that's been awesome. We're not having to like transport or use a cart, burn a cart to put our material on. That's a dedicated just stock cart essentially for the lathes. And so we have that. Doosan, the old, we call it the old, it's only 3 years old, 2-axis lathe. Oh, okay, so this is one thing. This machine is such a solid machine that we actually eliminated OD and ID grinding. It holds tenths all day long. We machine these with ceramic inserts. First the OD, and of course this is after heat treat, and then the ID with the ceramic insert boring bar. And yeah, it's great because now we've pulled in essentially grinding from an outside vendor to our in-house process on the machine. And so we just love that. We've kind of set up this area. This is gonna change. We want to have a type of crib in all the tools that we use because it's at the end of this long linear cell. And so we can just distribute tooling, metrology things, and just flow everything that way. That's important to us in this facility, that we're establishing and maintaining good flow. Digital height gauge, that's part of it. Nice pink granite block. And then also, this is kind of like the setup area for our grinding operations. I mentioned not a great grinder, super accurate, but it's finicky. Every machine has quirks. This had a lot of quirks to figure out. We've got it down. Would I buy it again? Probably not. Am I gonna sell it? No, it's still a solid machine. That being said, everything that needs to be ground, we don't want to store it back in a different area. Let's keep it here. So we've set up this staging area that if the grinder is ever not running and someone has some time, we'll walk up here. Okay, let's do some rotovice bodies, or these are heat treated rails that go into the PPS and MPS. And so we're gonna surface grind both sides of those to bring them to plus or minus 2/10. Yeah, so if you do notice, we also work in a cellular fashion, pulling up our carts and our material, so it's just very close at hand. VF2B, this is primarily our cast iron machine. It's not being used right now. Mini mill, the machine that I got started with it all, that's always been great. We're actually machining cast iron in it. It's a solid machine that it can run cast iron. And with today's high-speed machining tool paths, really there's so little cutting pressure that gets transferred into it. I would have considered selling it probably about 10 years ago because I was taking heavy cuts in cast iron and it just beat up the machine. But with these high-speed tool paths, we're cutting at about 300 to 400 inches a minute with just like a 10% step over. And these machines, they just cuts cast iron like butter. So tooling cart, we're making PPS bases right now. And if you do notice, we have a PPS base, a PPS pallet, and our PPS product in production. And we just use our products to make our products. To achieve extreme flatness, this pallet is machined flat. And so then we physically bolt down the pallet to, the base to the pallet as if it were bolted down to a machine table. And it works great. It's the best way to achieve flatness. A vise, you would have to tap down. Vices impart bowing sometimes. And so we don't want to do that. We want to keep it flat. So that is our dedicated fixture to achieve those. And right now we're doing a production run. It was a great end of year. And so we make these in batches in multiples of 12 because we get 12 per bar. And so we're doing 48 right now. So up here above me right now is our permanent lighting. So you're watching this on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is really growing fast. We're putting out a video a week. My goal is to have a video on our website next to every product. I call video the 24/7 global trade show. And to do that, why should we do things any differently in the media aspect than we do in our machining aspect? So my media guy who's behind the camera right now, Brian Davis, said, you do this lean thing, let's make a lean studio. So we built this permanent lighting setup. These are ultra bounces, 6-foot squares. We have these Aperture brand 300D LED lights that can be dialed in like perfectly. And let me throw in a video really quick of me building this thing. Really, all this pipe, it's just about 1/8 inch diameter aluminum, and it went together really easily, again, with these key clamps that can also be purchased off of McMaster-Carr. And then from there, it was literally just tying it into place. We have 2 mounting brackets. It's tilted at a 60-degree angle because we bounce it back. And when we did light testing, the angle that you project the light at is kind of like a mirror. So if you project it at a 30-degree angle, it's gonna come off at a 30-degree angle. If you do it at 90, it's coming back at 90. So this is pointed right down to where I would stand on the stage, the VF4SS stage. So, all right, so we just finished it. We hung it, we got the lights on it, and we're gonna turn them on for the first time. We got Brian back here, my camera guy. Ready, Brian? Let there be light. Whoa. That is awesome. You can't even see me, it's so bright. Whoa. That is incredible. Let me try and back up. Yeah, that is quite the bounce screen. Here, let me come over. Let's do some A/B testing, okay? Okay. All right. So this is the studio as you're gonna regularly be seeing me, and kill the lights. Yeah, huge difference, of course. The only lights that are on are just the regular shop lights, and they seem totally dim. So yeah, go ahead, go again. Yes, nice even lighting. That's awesome. It can also be tilted. So if we're doing shots for future videos in that direction, we can pivot it and it can just face and light up that direction. So yeah, we're loving that. So I said that we wrapped up phases 1 and 2. Behind me is the beginning of phase 3. So if you walk back this way, we've kind of marked it out on the ground, and we're essentially breaking ground today with, we're laying it out. This is gonna be a glass wall, essentially like if you've ever seen a conference room wall in like a law firm or something. It's gonna be glass wall here. We're gonna have carpet, we're gonna have either desks, tables, conference room. It's gonna be a flex room. My vision for this room is it's gonna be a community room, whether if it's hosting events, if it's hosting, I have a heart for education. High schoolers, one of my frustrations when I was in high school is like one track. You just follow this track. Well, there's a lot of gifted students out there that may not want to go on that track. They may want to go into business or manufacturing. And so we want to create an environment where they can have training, like the homeschool community is very flexible as to, hey, I want my child to be exposed to this, and so you send them to a business seminar or something, and you can do that. But we want to host something like that here. You know, plenty of people that are doing homeschooling and loving it, and so those junior high school students, it's kind of like you have the classroom here and you look through these amazing glass windows and you see an actual company and actual manufacturing happening right before their eyes. I was always distracted in school looking around. I think I would be super, not only distracted, but like inspired listening to someone talk about business and machining and then looking out and actually seeing a machining company. So that's like my grand vision. Over there, this is kind of a thing that I want to add. We drew out the plans and I said, dude, we need a place to just put stuff. Now, one of the things that you don't want is you don't want a bunch of waste, you don't want stuff or junk, but it's inevitable. But again, when we 3S, which is sweep, sort, and standardize, the sweeping process, that is putting things in their place. And then the standardizing part of that is if they don't have a place, create a place. We don't want to create a place that is so neat and tidy for stuff that's always coming and going and junk. You know, this is our junk room and it's okay to have that junk. We want to eliminate as much of it, but we just don't want it to be in the way. So this will be a closet that has a limited size. It's about 15 feet long, 6 or 7 feet wide, 10 feet tall. We'll put some racks in here where we can just put stuff out of the way, and that's a-okay. Again, plans, we have these plans drawn up. was kind of nice because the plans for the entire building were already in place. And I went to that draftsman and said, can you piggyback on those and design a few rooms? It's the other thing. I talked about how this was definitely always in the works. Behind us over here, the plans are actually in place for another room that we were planning to put in this area. But after living and working in this area for the past few months, we just decided we don't need this walled off. We don't need this to be a separate room. We have that room that was already in place, and it works well for inventory. It works well for shipping, and we like to assemble out in the open back there. And so we're just gonna cancel the plans to build here. We really like it. So there's just a bunch of little things that we're still dialing in. That's one of the things with Lean is you're constantly improving, you're constantly evaluating. And sometimes you have this big master plan and you just cut it off and you just move on. And maybe you might revisit it, maybe not. That's where we're at with this. So, and finally, our racking system. This has always been, when John Grimsmo came and visited our place back at our old shop, we talked about that and how we follow Amazon's model of random stow. It would be great to put all the books in one section, all the, I don't know, like toys in another, you know, and so forth. They do random stow where it just goes, the computer knows where it's at, and then the picker can go to that area, or even the robot can bring it from that. We're doing that essentially here, but we'll put it up. It's a small enough company, it's not that big of a rack, but we're gonna put it in place and everything is labeled. Actually, it's not so much labeled on this side, but if we were on the other side, you would see everything is labeled. And we just wanna know what is in place, where it is, and just keep it in its designated place at the time we put it on the shelf. So I'm not a stickler for saying PPS pallets always have to go here, vacuum trucks always have to go here, wherever there's space, because everything's always constantly moving. We're also going to these plastic pallets because we have a stack of wooden pallets out in the parking lot that looks terrible. They're just random, like no two pallets are alike. And so that kind of limits us on what we're putting on there. So we have a large plastic pallet and a small plastic pallet. And we're gonna label them and brand them so that just travels to our vendors and back from our vendors. And everything is just gonna be the same and standardized, and we can stack them, which is another thing. Wooden pallets don't stack. These stack really well. So that's the update. From here on out, we're gonna show you the ongoing progress of phase 3, the build out of that training room, that classroom. And I think you're really gonna love it. Thanks for watching.